If you want to show us some love, donate at rubydaytv.com, the home of all my exclusives. And don't forget to leave the show a rating or a review. Thanks to Tantalee for sponsoring today's episode. Tantalee has everything you need for your next self-care moment, with a wide range of high-quality companion dolls to fit any taste. So make sure to check out Tantalee and use code RUBYDAY to get 12% off your purchase. Realism redefined. You deserve the best experience. So lifelike, you'll be amazed at how real they feel. Welcome to Love Shot. I'm Ruby Day.
And I'm Olivia.
Oh my gosh, hall passes.
Yeah, hall passes.
Monogamy versus poly with them.
And what does that mean?
Okay,
right?
I'm a little confused, obviously. I sometimes get a little confused about some of these things. I know what a hall pass is. And for those of you who don't, a hall pass is like your partner gives you a hall pass to be able to go maybe have another partner for a night, or you want to try out a certain type of person, or you want to have a threesome, or it's just kind of like that get out of jail free card.
No, not a threesome. Not unless you're like having a hall pass to join a couple or something.
Well,
like
yeah.
That. But that's not really what a hall pass is.
But it may be used for that.
Yeah,
Maybe one partner wants to have a threesome with another couple. And their partner doesn't really want to. And they're like, can I have a hall pass to go do this and experience this?
Yeah, and I guess that could fit
I mean,
in that
that's
realm.
possible.
That is possible. But today we're not talking about threesomes. Today we're talking about hall passes for poly people and monogamous people. And what does that mean? And I think she nails it. It's really it's sex. It's just about having sex with somebody that you're not normally having sex with, and without like a judgment-free zone. And you just want to be able to go do that, and your partner's giving you the go-ahead to go, hey, go do it. Poly relationships, like kitchen table polyamory, which is the kind of marriage I'm in, everybody wants to meet everybody that they're going to bring in that start dating or have relationships with and stuff like that. And in those types of situations, a hall pass is very, very different. It's not like that in poly. More so, it's like, if I would use myself as an example, like, I'm in a kitchen table polyamory where everybody comes around the table. It doesn't mean everybody's having sex together, but everybody knows each other. Everybody likes each other. Now, let's say I meet a guy that it just hasn't really worked out in the sense of getting everybody together, and I just kind of want to go get to know him and maybe just have sex with him just to try him out or something like that. And so I would ask my partner for a hall pass, if I could just go do that and go. It's like a testing, like a little exploration to do. And in a poly sense, that's what hall pass would it mean to me, and I think it's kind of the general concept of that. Now, when you jump into the monogamous people, or people who practice monogamy most of the time, and they're not in some sort of alternative lifestyle like swinging or being in a poly relationship, those things are more the same thing. It's just you really want to just go have sex with somebody else. It's not that you're going to go date them. It's not that you're going to go have another relationship with them, because that is not okay in monogamy. You want to just have sex. You want to try something different. And maybe it has to do with when you both got married, you were virgins together and you didn't have sex. Both of you want to try something. I think it's very customary. If one person in the marriage asks for a hall pass, the other person must give it too, and you must expect that's going to happen, on both sides.
You mean the other person has the opportunity to have the hall pass as well?
Absolutely.
Not
Absolutely.
Give it, but they have the...
Everybody gets one.
Yeah, it's kind of like what's good for the goose is good for the gander kind of situation.
Right. And I think when you're definitely in any situation, whether you're poly or whether you're in a monogamy relationship, you've got to be open to that reality if you're wanting to explore those things or go have that one-night stand. And I think in monogamous relationships, it really is about a one-night stand scenario. To have with somebody, but it's also about telling your partner, I want to have this experience, can I do this? And getting permission first to go do it, so that you are respecting the relationship, you are keeping the communication, you are keeping the trust, and there's not cheating involved.
But isn't that true? I mean, from what you explained about hall passes with poly people, it's the same thing.
It is.
Now, see, I've always practiced a type of poly where, unless it's more of a committed poly relationship, more of a closed kind of poly relationship, then the hall pass would apply. But most of the poly relationships I've been in, it's just open communication and, hey, people are free to go try out other partners to possibly bring them into the poly relationship. And so it wasn't ever really a like, I'm asking for permission to go do this. It's like we've discussed that we are looking to bring other people in, and each person in the poly dynamic is free and available to go find those other potential partners and not really having to ask each other for permission.
Right.
And I think that's where kind of some of my confusion about poly and hall passes comes into play, because if it was for myself, I know if it was a more of a closed poly relationship, then I would feel like I needed to go to my poly family and say, hey, I have an interest in this. And I don't know if you all do, but if you don't, can I have a hall pass to go explore that? And then, have that availability.
Yeah.
But if it's more of a non-closed poly relationship, that's where my confusion about what hall passes are used for.
Well, there's no reason to be confused. I mean, I think the thing is hall passes definitely has more meaning in a monogamy type scenario. But when you are in the poly situation, I mean, we kind of are having a hall pass in general anyway.
It seems like it's kind of brackish water, meaning it's a little murky.
Well, it depends
on
the
type
of poly.
And it depends on the poly. Yeah, that's why I was saying.
And it doesn't apply to every kind of poly. There's poly relationships out there that, I've run across couples who literally they're poly and they're aware of their partner doing that and they just date separately. Literally, it's just date separately. So they've kind of been giving a hall pass indefinitely. It's kind of an indefinite hall pass situation. We date solo, and that's what we're doing, and that's become very, very common these days. As you can go check those things out. We had somebody write in a question here recently about they're a couple, and a man and a wife, and they're monogamy. They're a monogamy. They have a practice a monogamy relationship, and they've been married for 12 years. But they have talked about for the past 6 years, because the wife is bisexual. But she's never explored it. They were like, how do we have a threesome situation, or do we let her have a hall pass and let her go have an experience with a woman? And I think that's where that falls in.
But I think it depends on, like, for that instance. Yeah, if both partners are interested in having that threesome experience, absolutely do it together.
Yeah.
And I think that's fantastic. And a great way to start that is, use Field App. Field App is really good for that type of scenario.
Very good.
And if you don't have luck on that, or you want to kind of broaden your opportunities, do Field as well as swinger sites.
Yeah, lifestyle.
Because lifestyle sites are huge in that being a commonality that is in those lifestyles,
it's
that
very
they're very open. It's very normalized. It's very, a great way to get your feet wet without any responsibility to that. Just having the experience is what it's really all about.
Yeah,
and those are great ways to get started on that.
And when it comes to swing sites, my best advice would just get out there and, do an internet search and look for swing lifestyle sites. There are so many. It doesn't really, they all have a little bit different vibe and a little different feel. Just pick one and try it out is my advice. And if you don't like the feel of it, try another one. But there's a lot of couples that have practiced monogamy for years who are exploring lifestyle
who want
things.
that hall pass, and I think it's fantastic.
And you can definitely do that.
As long as everybody's really clear about what those boundaries of that hall pass are.
The rules. What are the rules?
You have to be real specific in what you're comfortable with.
Right.
And what you're not. And I know if you're brand new and you've never done that, it can be kind of nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
I know my first time when I was in a committed relationship that was a little more monogamous, but we didn't play separately. Getting that hall pass the first time, it was like, oh my gosh, what do I do? And what do I ask for? And what is it I'm looking for out of it? Because I had absolutely no idea, neither did my partner. the good thing is we went out and explored it and put rough boundaries on that hall pass.
Yeah.
But afterwards, in sharing the experience with each other, it was like, I realized I wasn't real comfortable with this aspect. So you can kind of fine tune those hall passes as you go. Just keep your cool when those boundaries that you didn't know were there get kind of crossed or stepped on, because that patience, because you're both learning, and it's no fault to anyone because you didn't know. It's the great learning experience of it. The hall passes can be so much fun.
Well, it
so
can
much
be.
fun.
It can be. And the thing is you do have to set rules. You do have to set boundaries in order for it not to cause problems come back to your relationship. At least you try to prevent them too. It doesn't mean you can do it 100%, but it's like having something simple. I know early on, my partner and we discussed these types of things and opening the marriage and stuff like that. And one of the biggest things that we talked about was, let's talk about STIs and things like that. And that's something I always talk about to any potential partner. I think that's something everybody should talk about. We shouldn't be ashamed. We shouldn't be worried about it. We should all, if we're sexually active, we should all be getting tested regularly. Every 3 months is what I do. And I think it's a safe way to be responsible and to show your partners that you're responsible and to be talking about this stuff. It shouldn't be stigmatized at all, because it's just out there and it's just the way it is. But that's how you stay clean and that's how you stay safe, is being able to.
It's really about
and setting
health.
those rules for that,
It's really about health, and everybody's going to have a varying degree of what it is for them. So
right. Well, my partner
not everyone's going to have the same specs. And especially when you're partnered with somebody in a relationship and you get that hall pass. I think for myself, I know especially, it was important that both people's differences and what they were comfortable with were respected, but each had to kind of give and take a little bit, so that it didn't ruin the hall pass experience for the person who was getting it.
Yeah, and it could be as simple as, like I said, one of your partners, or you talk about just practicing safe sex with that outing. That can be that's one of the real common rules that happen in boundaries. They say, hey, I'm okay with you doing this, but just practice safe sex. And
define what that safe sex is for each other,
yes,
because
define it.
It's very different depending on different people.
Oh, yeah.
And let's just face it, we've all been in the heat of the moment, got carried away, didn't realize it was moving so fast, and then after the fact, you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that happened. Okay. All right, what do I need to do now?
Yeah.
Because how do I approach this situation?
Yeah, and I think other rules, I've run into couples where they have rules like, well, you'll give you a hall pass, but no kissing, because they think that's more intimate.
Yeah.
I always kind of giggle at that one, but I guess it's, it's really comes down to what the couple is comfortable with. And sometimes people are just...
And then communicating that with the person you're doing the hall pass with.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's up to you to keep those boundaries of what that hall pass is.
Right. And you can be like, hey, my husband's not comfortable with me kissing, and that's what I'd say. But
or maybe they want to send texts or photos of the interchange as part of the hall pass rules. And I've run into a lot of people like that. They're like, hey, my husband or wife, we love sending photos. I won't show your face or your head in it, but we love sending photos in the heat of the moment to each other so that we can kind of enjoy and experience.
Well, they can be
together.
a part of it in some way, and I think it's that it helps, make them feel like they're a part of it versus feeling like someone's doing something apart from them. And I think the connectivity, and you have to set those own boundaries. It's really per couple. It's very unique, just like poly.
I think it's that way whether you're monogamous or poly. I mean, it's kind of just the general rules and protocol of dealing with hall passes.
Now, one of the things I have noticed between poly couples and monogamous couples is poly couples are much more comfortable. They have a lot less rules. than monogamous couples, which makes sense. Poly people are much more fluid with those types of things and much more comfortable with those things. And they don't have some of the same ties to like kissing as being too intimate and stuff like that. But I have definitely run into monogamous people who are exploring these worlds, but yet kissing is off limits. You can have sex, but kissing is off limits, and it's just too intimate for them. And so that, like I said, you really comes down to the type of couple you are. And I know that there's couples that are somewhere in between. They're in between some sort of poly lifestyle and monogamous stuff. And that's why I say monogamish, because there is a varying thing. If you're just totally staunch monogamy, closed relationship, this is not an option. But there's a lot of couples that practice monogamy who have once in a while they will have an experience or they'll let their partner go do those things.
But I've even had monogamous couples that they thought that they were that really closed monogamous traditional style. And then somewhere down the road, they're like, I kind of want to try this. And then they go butt wild.
Yeah.
And that whole strict monogamy situation starts going out the window when they're with you, and they get carried away and break some of those boundaries of the hall pass.
And I will say one thing, and this I'll leave you
always
all with
get
this,
a chuckle with
is,
that.
For the monogamy couples out there that do end up exploring the hall pass, you have to understand that it could just be a one-off thing for both of you.
And you could find something out about yourself that you didn't really realize.
Or you find out you want to open your marriage, because that's...
And hall passes are a great kind of test, safe test to be able to know if opening up your relationship, if you're talking about that, helps you kind of get your feet wet in a more controlled manner and a safer manner for some people in the relationship.
Yeah. And it's just about being comfortable. So set those rules, set those boundaries, do a lot of communicating, and just have fun.
If you want to show us some love, donate at rubydaytv.com. the home of all my exclusives. And don't forget to leave the show a rating or a review.